Mr. Speaker.
Johnathan Young.
Mr. Speaker, I congratulate you on your election to the position of Speaker, and I know that you will serve this House in an excellent manner. Ladies and gentlemen and fellow members of the House, I have always been proud to be a New Zealander, and I am now honoured, humbled and privileged to speak in this House. I am very proud to be a member of the National Party. I was convinced some time ago that New Zealand would be extremely well served by the forward-thinking leadership of the Prime Minister, the Honourable John Key. And now I find myself in this opportunity to serve under him in his government. I count that as a great privilege. I would like to thank Judy Kirk, President of the National Party, a wonderful woman who leads with great skill, insight and warmth. Thank you to Joe Stewart and Alistair Bell, two of our regional chairs who have encouraged me in my journey to the House. Thank you to the great team in New Plymouth, who wholeheartedly threw their support behind me. Special thanks go to Jan Mason and Orm Grensel, my campaign co-chairs, for their tremendous support. And all the campaign team, of course, and the many volunteers who did the hard yards, literally. Thanks also to John and Helen Armstrong, who have been great personal supporters throughout the rigours of the campaign. My family have been a tremendous encouragement to me, and of course I would like to thank my wife Maura for her steadfast support, for her brilliant analysis of situations and her unrelenting belief in me. I am so very proud and honoured to be the Member of Parliament representing the people of the New Plymouth electorate. This electorate, which goes from Okato in the west to Waitara in the east and to the summit of Mount Taranaki, is an amazingly beautiful part of New Zealand. The New Plymouth electorate is truly a jewel in the crown of New Zealand whose time has come. It was only 2 months ago that New Plymouth was voted New Zealand's top city, heading off Christchurch, Wellington and Auckland as the best place in New Zealand to live, love, work and raise a family. And I know that some of the members from those lesser cities are right now wanting to rise to their feet, but I understand interjections are discouraged during maiden speeches. Added to that, New Plymouth won 3 out of 5 possible gold medals at the International UN Awards for Livable Communities held in China recently. I bring this to your attention because it wasn't always the case. New Plymouth was described by author E.W. Patent in 1876 as the dullest place in the colony, which all the other great bustling cities had a patronising way of snubbing. But as we wonder about those words, they underscore a story which all New Zealanders can be encouraged by. As a consequence of New Plymouth's distance from those great bustling cities, it bred a people who possess what we would all see as a noble trait: self-reliance. With the earliest Maori settling in Taranaki around 800 AD, the people of the region have always been resilient and resourceful. When describing the magnificence of New Plymouth and the area, Mayor Peter Tennant said, "It is because of our heritage of innovation and determination that we have groundbreaking facilities, extensive parks and reserves, a magnificent program of events and festivals, and a very strong local economy, which combined with our fantastic landscape makes for a lifestyle that is unequalled anywhere." New Plymouth's and its surrounding region's success is not just because we are a cow town or an oil town, it's because we are innovative and determined to make the most of opportunities that come our way. Being so far from the bustling cities of the north and south, the people of New Plymouth region were compelled to develop their own strong sense of community, their own expression of art and culture, and their own excellence in industry. This is evidenced today by events such as WOMAD, the World of Music and Dance Festival, the Taranaki Rhododendron and Garden Festival, which attracts tourists from all over New Zealand and around the world, Pukekura Park in the centre of the city, which has been named a garden of national significance, the Govett Brewster Art Gallery, which is the home of the collection of international acclaimed kinetic artist Len Lai and is world renowned, It has a world-class stadium, Yarrow Stadium, carrying the name of the late Noel Yarrow, one of Taranaki's great philanthropists, where we recently enjoyed the All Blacks playing Samoa. The Davis Cup round against China was also played in New Plymouth. It is evidenced in the world-class engineering companies that support the oil and gas industry and export their expertise around the world, not just in oil and gas engineering, but in the leap that has been made to manufacture some of the best super yachts in the world. I would suspect if Edward W. Payton were to visit New Plymouth today, he would see a thriving, creative, expansive, exciting and bustling city. He would write an addendum to his previous statement which would say, even if they were snubbed, they wouldn't notice anyway. New Zealanders, like the people of New Plymouth, have a great heritage of innovation and determination. It comes from the challenges we face from living on the far side of the world. State-of-art innovation and best practices are critical to us because we have huge oceans to cross to the bustling cities of the north. And if we are not committed to excellence, and if we are not resourceful and determined, we simply cannot compete. It has always been our ingenuity and our resourcefulness that has given us the winning edge. As the world is facing severe economic conditions, it is this heritage, it is this heart that is going to pull us through with strength and with confidence. It is the story of New Plymouth, whom I am proud to represent in this House. This is also the story New Zealand will win on. The story of New Plymouth's future success is yet to unfold, developing greater national and international transport links through the port, the ongoing development of New Plymouth's infrastructure, continuing development of the tourism features and opportunities, the continual increase of opportunities through our educational institutions that will inspire our young graduates to invest their skills in our region, the ongoing development of New Plymouth's unique art and cultural heritage, the ongoing advancement of industries such as agriculture, oil and gas, of course, and all the associated industries that experience the multiplying benefit of their success, opening up opportunities for more New Zealanders, the ongoing enrichment of our communities and development of community support organisations. People love living in New Plymouth. It is rich in its relationships and sense of community. It has a great can-do attitude. It is a world-class city in so many ways. I am a son of Taranaki, a returned son. Mount Taranaki is our great landmark. It gives one a sense of location and anchorage. By it, you know where you are and where you are heading. I was born in Hara, South Taranaki, to Ven and Margaret Young. Like every good parent, they too were landmark people in my life. I'd like to acknowledge members of my family. My mother, Margaret, here today. I'd also like to acknowledge Catherine Young, whom many of you will also know, my siblings, Adrian, Audrey, Simon and his wife, Carly, and Jeffrey. I have family members who can't be here, Andrew and Lynn, Peter and Tracy, Matthew and Lauren, and Francis. You continue to play a very important part in my life. Thank you for all your support. My parents were dairy farmers in Otakio. When I was about 4 years of age, they shifted to Cambridge to farm in the Waikato. In 1966, my father was selected as the National Party candidate for Egmont, which later became Waitotara and then Whanganui, and he was successful and spent the next 24 years serving his constituents and this House. My first recollection of Parliament was coming here as a 7-year-old and meeting the late Sir Keith Holyoake, Prime Minister. I remember that meeting vividly. I remember my father's first office. I remember the shoeshine stools in the men's toilets, which are still there today. I remember sitting up in the gallery as a small boy, wondering what was this all about. I remember eating in Bellamy's and the silver butter knives and the rolls and the fish that seems so often to be on the menu. Throughout my growing years, my parents instilled in me a very basic philosophy. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. As my mother said, the golden rule of life. Later I learned that this simple philosophy was at the heart of practical Christianity, which later dramatically shaped my life. I was educated in Hara and New Plymouth and later in Palmerston North. Throughout my student years, I enjoyed what many young men enjoyed doing, that is, working in the holidays. From haymaking to cheese making at Kaupakanui Dairy Factory to then churning out the very first butter from Whairoa, which is now Fonterra's Hara plant, the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere, to spending a summer in the Pātea freezing works, followed by a couple of summers in the high country cattle station called Molesworth, which straddles North Canterbury, Marlborough and Nelson Bays. During my time in Palmerston North, I was training to be an educator, a teacher, a noble profession, perhaps not earth-shattering, but definitely world-shaping. I discovered to my surprise that I was an excellent teacher. I think surprised because I wasn't particularly an excellent student. But I have been most gratified to have received emails from students even this year who still count me as their best teacher 30 years later. Later in my life, I served the people of Waitakere City, West Auckland, as a church minister. I found that to be a challenging and rewarding work. This work connected me to families and single people, to young and old alike, to business people, tradespeople, labourers, factory workers, professionals, in all walks of life. I was their mentor and friend. I shared their happy times and their heartaches. Listening to their stories, stretching my perspective to see theirs, has helped me understand where people are at. And through that, I discovered what it is to not just live in a community, but to lead a community. And the challenge, as our Prime Minister has articulated well, is to encourage people to have a life of aspiration rather than envy, to grasp the opportunities that come each person's way. It reminds me of the story when a young ambitious man asked an experienced salesman for the secret of his success. The salesman said, "There's no great secret, you just have to jump at every opportunity that comes along." The young man replied, "But how can I tell when an opportunity is coming?" The salesman replied, "You can't, you have to keep jumping." And I think this is something that aspiration is about. It's not just seeing the opportunity, it's jumping for it. It's not just aptitude and education, it's attitude and determination. Educating, encouraging, leading people forward into a brighter and a better future has always been my core purpose, no matter what profession I have been engaged in. And I trust I can continue this passion as a Member of Parliament. As I come to a close, much of the world is focused on reducing its carbon footprint. We want it to be balanced so we live in a sustainable world. I would like to describe the political footprint I hope to make. When my time comes to leave, I want to leave this place better off than when I came. I want to leave New Zealand better for my contribution than without it. I want to leave a political footprint that is an indelible impression of someone who carries genuine concern and care for my constituents, my colleagues, and all New Zealanders. Firstly, I want to tread carefully with my constituents and colleagues. I believe the best parliamentarian is one who seeks to serve their constituents and communities without fear or favour. The leaders that people admire are those who continually put the benefit of others first. I am not here for myself. I am here for the people of New Plymouth. No one will feel my footprint on their toes. I believe it is important to respect the opinion of others, especially when they may differ. Arrogance is ultimately a step towards ignorance. There is a certain wisdom and understanding that those who disagree with you can often educate you. They challenge your perception and knowledge, and it is only embracing challenge that we truly grow. I want to be open-minded. However, I believe it's important to have strength of character so that you can remain true to your convictions, whether others agree with you or not. I appreciate the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, "It is easy in the world to live after the world's opinion. It is easy in solitude to live after one's own. But the great men or women are they who in the midst of the crowd keep with perfect sweetness the independence of their character." Secondly, in stepping out, I want my footprint to be seen in strategic advancements that will improve people's lives. I believe in freedom. I believe democracy offers New Zealanders the best political opportunity for freedom. True freedom requires that people live in social responsibility and concern for one another. Caring is not the prerogative of a socialistic philosophy, it is a universal responsibility. As I tread my political footprint in my community and in this Parliament, I want to support and promote the goal of financial success and independence, alongside a pursuit of personal aspiration and excellence that also seeks to live in social concern for others. Though we live with governmental oversight and organisation, we organise because the social concern for others is often lower than it should be in our communities. Therefore, as we build responsible and mature communities, government can become smaller because communities become stronger. Thirdly and finally, in establishing my political footprint, I want to leave a pathway for others to follow. I aspire that my service and leadership would be an inspiration to others, that my life would serve as a worthy example to follow. We must never forget that above all things, we are leaders. We will leave a legacy. Some will last days, some months, some years. Some will never be forgotten. May our monuments be ever seen in the vitality and success of those we seek to serve. The things worth living for will always be the things which outlast us. I want to be a part of something great that is worthy of the investment of our lives. That is why I'm here. That is why I'm honoured to serve in the National Party. That is what I aspire to. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. May God bless us all. Kia ora.
Order.